So we will cover this topic today, quantitative and qualitative methods. Okay, in fact we are going to talk about inductive deductive approach, same. So any question from the previous session, non-positivism? You want me to cover it quickly? Some of you have discussed with some other faculties to teach in Malayalam also, right? So I've told you the limitation. We have other state people also attending the session, so I can't do that. That's why towards the end I can cover in Malayalam. In case if you have any questions later, you can personally also ask. If you want I can repeat, but now if I repeat I'll do that in, okay, let's do it as a quick recap if you want, positivism and non-positivism. You want to go for a quick recap? Okay. So we'll keep it aside. We'll go with positivism. So what is your topic? Positivism and its critique, right? And its critique. So this is your syllabus, the topic in the syllabus. So what you need to prepare here, you need to talk about the context of positivism, right? So you need to tell the examiner this is a context in which initially in sociology we went for this approach. What is the context? Sociology emerged in response to challenges posed before modernity, and emergence you just mentioned, and initial sociologists wanted to make it similar to natural science, right? So the methods, approaches which is used in natural science at that time was considered more legitimate, more acceptable, so you started using the same. So that approach you followed. But still, when we wrote the answer, I've made it very clear that positivism and sociological positivism is slightly different. Because that positivism, if you see, it's purely empirical, purely inductive, right? But here I told you, when it comes to sociological positivism, though you borrowed and you use the same approach, same concept, but it's neither purely empirical nor purely inductive, right? So not only through observation but through reasoning also you will take this approach. So this is the context. Initial sociologists wanted to make it similar to natural science, so we started using the approach similar to natural science. So initially positivism, and then we need to talk about various elements of positivism, right? So what are the elements we discussed? First of all, you need to tell, the entire discussion should revolve around how a study is done. If you are doing some investigation, how the investigation is done or the study is done, and what is studied. These are the two fundamental questions you need to answer. So what is, let's start with the elements in that. What is studied? External realities, right? So you give importance to, you study only the external reality. So first element that we discuss here is you study external realities. And when you're writing the elements here for positivism focused on studying external reality, you have mentioned that, and then you can quote which thinker here? Auguste Comte. According to Auguste Comte, sociologists should not even be concerned about internal meanings, motives, emotions, etc. So blindly you can directly over there you can mention by using Auguste. See, it again, you are not saying it, it's taught by the founding father of sociology itself, right? That's how you will also make your argument safe. So you focus on external reality. According to Auguste Comte, the founding father of sociology, you should not be concerned with internal meanings, etc. So this is the initial approach. This is what the founding father is saying. So that's the most important element of positivism. So what to be studied is covered. Now, how to study. There are some elements we need to discuss. What are they? Before that, scientific, objectivity will come. That anyway will be there. So you should be using, to ensure objectivity, scientific methods. Use of scientific methods. Now, you mentioned use of scientific methods. Which thinker you will bring here? Here, come on. Which thinker? Emile Durkheim. Hello. Emile Durkheim, and what you say? In the beginning, in his theory of suicide, he borrowed method directly from natural science, statistical techniques. In fact, his theory of suicide is a classic. This is how we'll write it. I'll see there are certain terms and the sentences that I use exactly the same you need to reproduce. Like this, if I'm using this means, Emile Durkheim's study of suicide is considered as a classical exhibition of the use of statistical techniques in sociology till date. If you can reproduce exactly the same, it's best. Otherwise, simply in your language, you can say, Emile Durkheim demonstrated the use of statistical techniques in sociology. Or simply you will say, Durkheim directly used the methods from natural science in sociology in his initial writing, but in his later writing, like theory of religion, etc., he developed methods for sociology, like comparative analysis, etc. Now, you don't want to worry about these because all these methods, theory of suicide we are going to study later, theory of religion we are going to study later, Emile Durkheim's methods itself we are going to study later as a separate topic. So all these will again come. So here, whatever you are going to study there, as you know, one day we are going to spend just writing it for one line example. Cool. So and you can also add Max Weber. Max Weber also, developed methods for sociology. So again, you are not saying, you are again talking about sociologist, initial sociologist, right? And you have to make, now we have discussed certain elements for science. What are they? Quickly. Intersubject reliability, quantifiability, objectivity, theory building, prediction, testability. So all those will come now, right? So once you have studied there, you know the limitations also. The exact same thing is now going to be replicated here also in this topic. So you'll be talking about theory. This theory is inductive theories. And that's the topic that we are going to cover today, inductive, deductive, or quantitative, qualitative. The data you are using will be quantitative, inductive theory. Now, after that, and will you be able to write examples here? Durkheim's theory of this, Weber theory of this, Mead's theory of this, Marx theory of this. You're going to study at least 20 theories later. You can write any three of that. We have written also. Fine. Then you will write objectivity, right? You need to ensure objectivity. There also you will say, you try to ensure maximum possible objectivity with the use of methods, proper training of investigators, right? And then the rest of the things, predictability, testing and all, you'll be writing. So elements, you are very clear. Now the question is what to study and how to study, we answered. In simple one line, one sentence, if I ask you to explain what is positivism in terms of how to study and what to study, how will you say that? Objective study of objective reality. So how you study? Objective. What you study? Objective reality. External reality means objective reality. So are you okay if I am saying positivism is nothing but objective study of objective reality? Is that clear? Perfect. Now go with the criticism. One by one, can you take up and criticize? What the problem with external reality? It's a partial understanding. One way in which you can say it is a partial, because one side is what you are taking. Society is made up of internal as well as external. Human beings have emotions, meanings, motives, which play a significant role in the action, which contribute to the society. So if you are only talking about external reality, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of reality. Cool? Or a partial understanding of, if you want to be more diplomatic, partial understanding of society. If you want to be very straight, rigid, fundamental misunderstanding of reality. Both way you can say. One is slightly strong tone, where you are more authoritative. The other is slightly neutral tone, where you remain in between. Right hand, one by one, scientific methods. The example which you have given itself. What you told, Durkheim initially used statistical techniques in his theory of suicide. So you can say, even though Durkheim used that method, or even though the positivist initially borrowed from natural science, but the use of that methods in sociology is questionable, because both are studying entirely different phenomena, different subjects. So you can't use the methods there directly here. right? Second, within that itself you are saying sociologists develop methods. So again, that also you criticize, even though sociologists develop methods for sociology, but still face problem with subjectivity of the investigator, personal biases of the investigator with respect to choice of methods, data collection, etc. Right? Then again, all these you can easily criticize. We have seen the same in science also. Theory building, the universal theories are not universal. It has been seldom proved right in reality. Many theories have been rejected. For example, Comte's claimed laws of social organization, we discussed this example. Why it's so hot today? I'm not able to stand also, even sweating like anything as if. Okay, now then, objectivity. Absolute objectivity is neither possible nor desirable. Testability, prediction is distinct reality, distinct dreams in sociology. Now, if the question is about positivism, how will you write? You will have to talk about how and what objective study of objective reality, but you start with the context, you write the elements, you write the criticisms, and then you briefly mention about non-positivism also. So even if the question is about positivism, your answer should be completing the cycle. When the cycle is completed, only after non-positivism. The entire debate need to be over. So you start with the context, you start with positivism, you start with elements, you start with its limited, talk about its limitation and how it led to non-positivism. So the entire cycle need to be completed. Now, even if they're asking non-positivism, then first you will have to develop the context. For that, you talk about positivism and its limitation in one paragraph. So whatever we discussed in that 200 words now, you need to write entire stuff in one paragraph, set the context, and then go to non-positivism. There you again bring. Okay, so after this criticism, then we are going to see the next phase, right? Positivism to non-positivism, it's not a straight road. In between, who came? Weber, Mead, okay? Weber and Mead. What is that approach? So the subject matter changed, right? Another way in which you can say subject matter, what is that? No, that is when we are simplifying it. Subject matter, method of inquiry is the how to study, scope of sociology. Subject matter and scope of, so for Weber, the subject matter is internal reality. What is that? Meanings, motives, emotions, and you have to study the social action by understanding the meanings attached by the actor to the action and establish cause and effect. So, for Weber, what is the subject matter? Internal reality. Or what is the scope of sociology for Weber? Internal reality. Scope of sociology and subject matter are the same. Right, I am using different words because you can't use the same word again and it looks sometimes annoying. So if you are saying subject matter for Weber is internal reality in this sentence, next sentence immediately again you are writing subject matter, it looks not good. So there you will say scope of sociology. Like that you interchange. Right? Now, what is the method of inquiry? Subjective or objective? Objective. So if you look at Weber, he deviated in terms of subject matter, right? From external to internal. Guys, I am standing here after spending so much time in my screen and taking other sessions, doing a lot of work from morning 6 o'clock my work starts. Only at 3:15 it complete, and then 3:30 I'm standing here. Still I have this concentration. Right, at least 50% if you have it work, and you are only sitting with this, nothing else, you are studying, you keep studying. Okay, so he deviated in terms of subject matter from external to internal. That means now he opened space for non-positivist. Subject matter is changed, but he remained with positivist on one dimension. What is that? How to study. You have to study objectively, right? So how to study? He is with the positivist. What to study? He deviated. So how to summarize Weber's approach? Bridge the gap between the two, yes, but how to summarize? Objective study of subjective reality. What to study is changed, how to study remain the same. So positivist is objective study of objective reality. Weber, objective study, yes, same with the positivist, but subjective reality. Why subjective reality? Individuals' internal meanings, motives, etc. Now, if you look at that Weber's interpretation that I have given to you, for Weber, the scope of sociology is to study social action. And you have to establish cause and effect relation. How you establish cause and effect relation? Understand the meanings attached by the actor to the action. So when I say understanding the meaning, it is internal. When you say establish cause and effect means it is objective study. Cause and effect relation means that's in positivism, that is objective study. So that is why Weber is considered to have bridged the gap between positivist and non-positivist. So Weber comes in between. Cool? Weber and Mead. Now comes the third stage. That is pure non-positivism. So here, subject matter is what? Internal. Changed, not from external to internal. How to study? Subjectively. Different investigator will study differently. Different investigator interpret phenomena differently. So here people understand things rather than, you are not favoring theory building, you're not focusing on objectivity, you're not focusing on theoretical prediction or testing or anything. It's purely understanding. And we discussed two, phenomenology and ethnomethodology. So what are the elements? If you see, this external become internal, the use of scientific methods is minimum, theoretical orientation is not there, it's about understanding. Objectivity, they're not concerned, but they favor subjectivity. Testability and prediction is no more practically possible in sociology. So even though it looks non-positivism is difficult, but what is actually easy for you to write answer? Non-positive, because nothing is there. You will just say there is no theory, there is no testing, there is no prediction, it's only about understanding. But even when you're writing non-positivism, your major task is writing positivism in the first paragraph. Right? Everything in positivism you have to write in one paragraph. That's the main task. Writing non-positivism is actually easy. Because there you have enough content. You can talk about phenomenology, you can talk about ethnomethodology. And phenomenology, who are the thinkers? Alfred Schutz, Peter Berger, Thomas Luckmann. Ethnomethodology? What? Harold Garfinkel, you should be faster enough. Right? So this is what we have done. So non-positivism is a complete radical departure from positivism. So positivism is, now let me again, I just want you to interpret this part. If I say objective study of objective reality, what is this? Positivism. So what I am asking, objective study means how you study objectively by using scientific methods, quantitative data, inductive approach. So objectively I am studying. What I am studying? External reality. So here you are talking about what I am studying. So these are the two fundamental questions need to be answered in this question. So what I am studying is external. So since I am studying external reality, that is objective reality for me. I can observe, I can see, I can quantify. Internal aspect I cannot. How someone can quantify love, hatred, fear? Can you quantify? No. Fine. Second, objective study of subjective reality. Who stands here? Weber and Mead. So how to study? Objective. What you are going to study? Internal reality, which is subjective. Internal reality means it is subjective. It is different for different people. Fine. So where is the change now? There is a change here. What to study is changed. Subject matter is changed. Now so here there is no complete departure. That is why bridge. It's a bridge. It's in between. There is an element from positivism. There are elements of non-positivism. Now comes complete subjectivity, right? Subjective study of subjective reality. So this entire topic has to be summarized with this. If you can do it, it's done. So how much time I spent here, guys? Are we okay with this now? Fine. So let's start with this. Tell me what all things you know about this. It's a very simple topic. Just for we already discussed what is inductive, what is deductive, what is quantitative, what is qualitative, objective, subjective, scientific, human. It is the same continuous discussions. Tell me what you know about this quantitative approach. So in simple terms, if I need to say, quantitative data is dealing with numbers. So if this is dealing with numbers, what qualitative data deals with? Description or text. So, for example, if I am conducting any study, it could be related to accident, it could be related to domestic violence. In this case, my concern is, are you facing domestic violence? Yes or no? So I get the entire collection of a sample size, and then this many are facing this problem, this many are not facing this problem. But what is my concern here? I not only ask, I ask why. What do you think? I'll keep interacting with that person. I keep collecting maximum information in terms of text and proper detailed description I take. So which one is more good for sociology? Actually, qualitative is better because you are getting proper detailed description of a phenomena, but it will be subjective. You can tell different stories. Different people can tell different stories. Right? Even if you are facing domestic violence also, you won't say you are facing it. So here again, so let's say you get yes or no. Then further you keep, if you want to get further data, so a larger sample size is taken. So your first question is, are you facing it or not? Yes, no. And then you come up with a conclusion that yes, 60% is facing this problem, 40% is not. So this is what your conclusion. Then further you will ask, giving a different column. It could be alcoholism, it could be dowry, it could be related to some other reason, whatever. And then again you come up with some conclusion out of the 60 who's facing, right? X percentage belongs to this reason, Y percentage belongs to this reason, like that only. So everything comes in terms of numbers. You got my point? You get the data in terms of numbers, you can analyze in terms of numbers, you can come up with a conclusion in terms of percentage exactly, which means out of 100 I take this many is facing problem, I can conclusively say. And if I can tell that 60% is facing problem, another 100 sample size if I am taking, can I predict also? Yes. With that I'll predict, but with this I cannot predict. Okay, so quantitative, qualitative. Now, where do you think a trained investigator is required? Here or here? Qualitative, it has to be done by a trained investigator because you have to go, You have to ask, you have to keep asking questions, you have to get the details. So you need a trained investigator. Not anyone can do it. What about this? I can simply put a survey in the internet also, I'll get the data. Or I can send my assistant also to ask questions, because you are only getting yes or no. Bro, don't sleep. Tired. Okay. So the point is, yeah, you need a trained investigator here. You don't want a trained investigator here. You can send your assistant, you can conduct an online survey also. Which one is objective? This is in numbers, it remains objective. This is subjective. So these are, what else you know about this, what we discussed? Which one is scientific? And this is claimed to be scientific, but this is also, there is no unscientific element in this. If you do it with proper trained investigator and all, this is also, moreover there is a statement of Karl Popper which you have written. According to Karl Popper, this is also scientific. We have written last day, the same statement you can write. So you can't say this is not scientific, but this is claimed to be more scientific as it is dealing with numbers, it is making theory, it is giving predictability option, can test also. Right? There is no unscientific element here, so we can't say that. Which one is easy to do? This is easy to do. This is which one can do with a larger sample size? Larger sample size. I want to collect maximum data. In which method? Quantitative, because yes or no I can get from 1 lakh people also, but can I keep on going asking to 1 lakh people detailed description? No. So there is a limitation here. Sample size will be small, but which one will give you quality data? That will give you that quality, because you get more info. So the sample size will be smaller here, but the information will be larger here. The sample size can be larger, even 1 lakh people also I can include in my survey, because I get yes or no, but information will be less. You only know yes or no, but here information will be larger. That's it. This is a very simple one. We'll write it. Right. Topic: quantitative and qualitative methods. You can expect a 20 marker. And there is nothing extra required beyond what we write in the notes. We'll cover it completely. Now, when you write, I'll explain again. Means when you are this is a small sample size, right? You need to ask to people, get the detailed description. So it can be done with only small size. I cannot go with 1 lakh people, but each of the people will give more and more and more information. So sample size is small, but information is large. But here, sample size is large. I can conduct a survey with even 1 lakh people, but information I get is only yes or no. So large sample size, less information. Here small sample size, more information. Which one is more costly? Qualitative, because I have to put a lot of time and effort, right, and costly also. But this one is easy. A simple internet survey itself will bring you result. Right, first paragraph. With the emergence of sociology, as a distinct discipline, the quest for finding its scope and an appropriate methodology was started, and with time a number of perspectives emerged which argued for which argued for different methods. Okay. The debate, next sentence, the debate surrounding the use of methods, the debate surrounding the use of methods was clearly interlinked with the initial debate on the nature of sociology. So എന്താ എഴുതിയ അവിടെ? With the debate surrounding the nature of, എന്താ ഒന്നുകൂടി ആരെങ്കിലും വായിച്ചേ? The debate surrounding interlinked with the initial debate on the nature of sociology. അതെന്താണ് initial debate? Nature of sociology, whether sociology is science or not. So if it is science, quantitative methods. If it is not science, qualitative methods. So that discussion is what ultimately the reason for use of methods also, everything. Whether sociology is science or not. That is the initial debate. So methods, approaches, objectivity, subjectivity debate, inductive, deductive approach, all are connected with that. Perfect. Initial emphasis on the positivist approach. Initial emphasis on the positivist approach, employing empiricism and inductivism preferred the use of facts, FACTS, the use of facts which are quantitative in nature, And initially positivism, so they preferred quantitative methods. About the sentence, what do you need to write next? Non-positivism preferred qualitative. So we are bringing the context. Quantitative, we have brought quantitative, qualitative through initial debate on the nature of sociology. We discuss positivism, non-positivism, we discuss quantitative and qualitative. So now we write the critique of positivism led to emergence of non-positivism, which preferred qualitative, and then we start with quantitative and qualitative. Cool. So that's the introduction, right? The critique of positivist approach. The critique of positivist approach led to development of non-positivism, which preferred more abstract, ABSTRACT, which preferred more abstract qualitative methods. More abstract qualitative methods. More abstract qualitative methods. Both these methods found their place in the context of different subject matter proposed by positivism and non-positivism. Positivism and non-positivism. Okay, introduction is set, the context is set. So maybe you need to summarize it, can't write this much. Now give a subheading, quantitative methods. See, this is a very simple, easy topic. You just need to rewrite the same thing only. You don't want to add anything, you don't want to prepare from any other sources, right? These are direct, straightforward, very well prepared notes. Just write. These methods employed, quantitative methods in the subheading either, right? These methods employed a systematic scientific investigation. These methods employed a systematic scientific investigation of quantitative properties of a phenomena in order to develop models of theories. So what you do, you try to develop a quantitative properties of a phenomena. That means any phenomena you try to understand things in terms of numbers. Okay, just write one line. The approach of these methods is to generate a quantified image of a phenomena, quantified image of the phenomena under study. Quantified image of a phenomena under study. Now, Chanda, quantified image of a phenomena means you are reducing things in terms of numbers. Any phenomena, you reduce that in terms of numbers. Okay, that's what you mean by quantified image of a phenomena. Try to see that phenomena in terms of numbers. Next. The process of measurement is central. The process of measurement is central to qualitative methods. Because it provides fundamental connection between empirical observation and mathematical expression of quantitative relationship. Just underline process of measurement is central. First, we sentence start the process of measurement. So, what is the first step in this method? Measurement. You need to get the data in terms of numbers. So, that's the first step. Okay. Thus, the quantitative methods are used. To generate data dealing with numbers. Full stop. What are you can write some techniques also to use here. Various techniques like survey, interview, questionnaires, surveys, comma, interview, comma, questionnaires, comma, schedules, 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 etc. These are some examples of quantitative methods where you get things in terms of numbers. These methods are generally applied for the purpose of data collection. These methods are generally used or generally apply for the purpose of data collection using sampling. Sampling. How many of you haven't heard this term sampling? Arilla alle. Sampling nu parna, you just take a sample size. If you need to know the rice is boiled, will you take entire rice from the vessel? No. You'll just take some part and you'll check it, right? So you can't ask to every woman in the world about to study domestic violence. You take a sample size. Similarly, when you're conducting a study of college students, you can't study entire college in the world. You focus on few colleges and you study the, drug addiction among college students. If you want to study, you take few students or few colleges or some colleges you select. From that, some students you select, right? Some students from one college, some from other college, like that few colleges you select. This is what sampling. This is something which you need to study separately in the 3rd chapter. You will do it there. Sampling is another topic. Next point. The interpretation of data, in these methods is done with the help of proper representation of data using modern science, comma, statistical techniques, which lead to its objective interpretation, So what you're saying there? So first you collected the data. That's the data collection is the central process, measurement of data through quantitative methods. We have discussed methods. Now you need to interpret that data. That you will do by using, again, scientific approach so that you get objective interpretation. Third, next sentence. Or just write, continuation to that. Various techniques like drawing tables, comma, graphs, comma, curves, curves, and other techniques like correlation method, correlation, CORRELATION, correlation method, etc. are used. Full stop. Nowadays, interpretation is highly simplified by the use of computer. Interpretation is highly simplified by the use of computer. I wrote this in 2009. So when you are writing in 2026, what you will write? AI. Okay. By the use of AI. Simple same, but next sentence. Finally, the theory building in quantitative method in quantitative method draws from the method of induction. Draws from the method of induction. The emphasis is on development of cause and effect relationship. Cause and effect relationship. Underline induction, underline cause and effect. Next sentence, the final testing of the theory is also done with the use of data. Okay, now give a heading, advantages of quantitative methods. Advantages of quantitative methods. These are simple, so we'll just keep writing. Okay, first one. These methods are considered objective. These methods are considered objective as generalization is based on facts. As generalization is based on facts. Okay, underline say the objective. Second, these methods are considered to be scientific. These methods are considered to be scientific, especially in the light of natural sciences. Especially in the light of natural sciences. Especially in the light of natural sciences. Underline says scientific. Third point, quantitative methods present an advantage of easy measurement as experts are not required for collection of data. Experts are not required for collection of data. Underline say easy measurement. Manaslayallo? Why it is easy? Experts are not required. Why experts are not required? It is just yes or no. You can even send your assistant also. You can put an online survey also. You'll get the data. Next point. These methods can be used for huge population also. These methods can be used for huge population also. Okay, next point. A huge population underline che. Next point. It is easy to check its reliability and validity. It is easy to check its reliability and validity of the results generated by qualitative methods. Qualitative methods. You can check the reliability and quantitative methods. Quantitative methods. It is easy to check the reliability and validity of the results generated by quantitative. In why? Reliability and validity you can check because numbers. So can it be replicated? Yes, another person also conducting the same research with the same sample, you can replicate. Means regeneration is possible. But qualitative, it is not possible. You ask again, that person will tell the entirely different story. Different person asks, can tell the different story. Okay, so just write one more line. The results can be regenerated. The results can be regenerated. Now just go through that advantages that we discussed fully. You underline regenerated, you underline reliability and validity. Anything you don't know, you don't understand in this? Okay, perfect. Now next paragraph. Quantitative methods suffered from number of limitations too. The disadvantage. When you disadvantage the heading at ediko, allanundingi paragraph aittu quantitative methods suffered from number of limitations too. First one. These methods cannot be applied. These methods cannot be applied for studying social phenomena. For studying social phenomena which are based on non-measurable attributes. Non-measurable attributes. Nachanda. There are many things in the social world which are non-measurable. Like I told you, love, hatred, emotions are non-measurable. Meanings are non-measurable. Fear, non-measurable. Right? So such kind of things you can't measure, so you can't use it. For example, the internal sides of the phenomena. The internal sides of the phenomena. SIDE. Internal sides of the phenomena. Like understanding meanings. Can't be studied. Okay, next point. These methods are difficult to apply. In situations where number of variables are very high. Next point. Sometimes variables are identified incorrectly. Next point. Quantitative methods rely on data collected from both primary and secondary sources. Quantitative methods rely on data collected from both primary and secondary sources. What does that mean, primary and secondary source? Yeah, directly if I am asking one person whether you are facing, let's say, domestic violence, that is primary, directly to that person. So she will give an answer, yes or no. Whether she faces it or not, but even if she is facing domestic violence, she may say no. Right? That means, can we even believe the primary person? Sometimes you can't believe the data collected from the primary person itself, primary source itself. What about I am asking to the other person, whether your friend is facing the problem? So the reliability of the primary source itself is questionable, especially when you're dealing with social phenomena. So secondary source is a big problem, right? So that's the point. I want to make sure that you understood primary source and secondary source. Primary means directly to the person we are asking. Secondary means to its relatives, friends, surrounding people we are asking and getting the data about another person. Okay, right. It is difficult to check the correction of secondary data. So we assume the primary data is true. We have to, there is no other option. It is difficult to check the correctness of secondary data. Next point. At the same time, these methods are hard to apply. These methods are hard to apply, difficult to apply on historical phenomena, as the data may not be available. As the data may not be available. Fine. Next point. Apart from this, quantitative methods are accused of generating partial view of reality. Partial view of reality. Next point. Even these methods were used. Even these methods were accused for involving subjectivity of the investigator. As the decision with respect to which data to collect, lie with the investigator. So what you're saying is, lie with the investigator. So what you're saying is, yeah, this method is claimed to have claimed to be objective because quantitative data. This is supposed to be objective, but there still can be subjectivity. Why? Because the investigator decide which data to collect, from whom you will collect. Right? If investigators have some idea that this area, this problem is there, and he can be biased with respect to the choice of methods, with respect to the sample size he choose also. That bias is there. Because he himself know this is the answer that I may be getting from this group of people. So that can be subjective. Next, qualitative methods. Next heading at qualitative methods. Quantitative okay, it's very simple, very easy. Right. Qualitative methods refer to the examination, analysis and interpretation of observation for the purpose of discovering underlying meanings and patterns of relationships underlying meanings and the patterns of relationships. Full stop. Next sentence. The qualitative methods in sociology emerged in reaction to excessive emphasis on the quantitative methods used by the positivist research. These methods are often used to gain better understanding of non-measurable sociological attributes, underline cheyadu, non-measurable sociological attributes like intentions, meanings, emotions, sentiments, etc. Okay? Non-measurable attributes. So next sentence. The data generated is qualitative in nature. എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ എന്താ ക്വാളിറ്റേറ്റീവ് ഇൻ നേച്ചർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഡിസ്ക്രിപ്റ്റീവ് ഡേറ്റ, ടെക്സ്റ്റ്, നോട്ട് നമ്പേഴ്സ്. ഓക്കെ, ജസ്റ്റ് റൈറ്റ്. ദ ഡേറ്റ ജനറേറ്റഡ് ഇസ് ക്വാളിറ്റേറ്റീവ് ഇൻ നേച്ചർ. ദ ക്വാളിറ്റേറ്റീവ് ഡേറ്റ is in the form of text and not numbers. It is usually based on description of the variables. ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു ടെക്നിക്ക് പറയാമോ? Can you say any one? We discussed multiple methods even here itself. Interview, അത് നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞല്ലേ? ഫിനോമിനോളജി മെത്തേഡ് അല്ലല്ലോ, അതൊരു അപ്രോച്ച് അല്ലേ? ഇല്ല, ക്വസ്റ്റനെയറിൽ അത് പറ്റില്ല. ക്വസ്റ്റനെയറിൽ യു ഗിവ് യെസ് ഓർ നോ, ദർ ഇസ് നോ സബ്ജക്റ്റ് ഡിസ്ക്രിപ്ഷൻ ക്വസ്റ്റനെയറിൽ കൊടുക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. അത് ബട്ട് ജനറലി വി കൺസിഡർ, but then we need to define open-ended and closed-ended surveys questionnaire. Adalla other methods also I have discussed yesterday also. Observation, participant observation, non-participant observation, we discussed already, right? എന്താ ഇതിപ്പോ based on description of the variables അല്ലേ? Right. Various techniques like observation, worst hand, narration. Worst hand ബ്രാക്കറ്റിൽ വേണമെങ്കിൽ കോംപ്രിഹെൻഷൻ എഴുതിക്കോ. You can write comprehension. Worst hand anyway we'll study separately. Worst hand, narration, etc. are used. The data thus generated is in abstract form. Secondary sources are also used to collect qualitative data. Secondary sources are also used to collect qualitative data. Okay, the interpretation of this data, the interpretation of data in these methods is done in an analytical way, using deduction. Underline say deduction. In pure qualitative research, there is minimal use of methods. In interpretation. Minimal use of methods in interpretation. Because you already get everything in a descriptive form. Okay. Next point. Similarly, qualitative methods often reject the formation of theories, and the testing is done through reasoning. Reject theories nallathu underline cheyu. So if the advantage endayirikkum, whatever disadvantage we wrote before, that will be the advantage, right? So give a subheading advantages. First point, qualitative methods are considered as significant. In the light of complete understanding of reality. Underline that, complete understanding of reality. Why so? Because you are getting proper detailed description of whatever you ask, whatever is under study. On the other side, you get yes or no, right? But here you get a complete understanding. Next, in general, these methods are considered cheap, means not expensive, cheap, if the purpose of the research is confined. See, firstly, we can only ask to few people, and if you choose those few people in your surroundings, your locality, it is cheap compared to the other methods where you may have to employ some other, assistant like that. Here it is considered cheap again if you need to do it in a small scale. But if you need to conduct in different societies, you need to see different culture, then you need to travel, and in all those cases it will be expensive. Right? Simply if I want to engage and I need to conduct, it's cheap. Right? Just for writing an advantage. Third point. These methods are helpful in finding solutions. To the problems in a more pragmatic way. Solutions to the problem in a more pragmatic way. Means what? If you go with quantitative, you will understand the problem, but you don't have any clue about the solutions or anything. But here, you not only understand the problem, you get complete inputs on that problem, so you will be able to come up with a solution for that. See, once you know the problem, then you can solve. But in the other side, you only know that this exists. You don't really get to know what is the problem, right? So you can't actually come up with a solution there. disadvantage kuda edu. Disadvantage. First one, disadvantage. First one, requirement of experts for its implementation. Requirement of experts for its implementation. Self-explanatory alladu. You need an expert. Requirement of an expert for its implementation. You need an expert. Second point. Difficulty in checking reliability. So ഇവിടെ നമ്മൾ advantage എഴുതിയപ്പോൾ what we did, we wrote disadvantages of quantitative as advantage. So when we write disadvantage here, what you do? Advantage of quantitative. അവിടെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന advantage അവിടെ objective ആണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. So ഇവിടെ objective അല്ല. അവിടെ നമ്മൾ there we said reliability and validity can be checked. Here we can't say. There we said it can be regenerated, replicated, but here it cannot be. Right? So simple. The exact opposite. We'll just change the plate. Right. So difficulty in checking reliability and validity. So there we have written it is easy to check reliability and validity. There we have written it is objective. So what you will write here? Subjective bias. Just write that. See, let me see if you can write in your own terms. Write that point. Simply write problem of subjective bias. Problem of subjective bias. Next point, more suitable for micro phenomena. More suitable for micro phenomena. Okay, next point, as the size of sample increase, the application of these methods become difficult and costly. As the size of sample increase, the application of these methods become difficult and costly. മനസ്സിലായോ അത്? Size of sample increase means you need to talk to many people or get the data from many means. It is going to take a lot of time, a lot of effort. It is becoming difficult and costly also. Just remember, in advantage we have written if the sample size is limited, it's cheap. But that's not the case if sample size is huge. But if sample size is huge, quantitative method, it is easy. Simply you can get it. Just write one more. The theoretical possibility in qualitative research is limited. The theoretical possibility in qualitative research is limited. But are they looking for any theories? No. In their approach, they are not looking for any theory. It's just understanding. So, just for sake of criticism, we are writing. Now tell me, which one is better, quantitative or qualitative? Tell me. Which one is better? Which one is better? ആരാ ആദ്യം നേരത്തെ ക്വാണ്ടിറ്റേറ്റീവ് എന്ന് തുടങ്ങിയത്? ഗൗതമിയാണോ? അല്ലേ? So I told you already, there is nothing like this or that is better in sociology, right? Both are good, both are scientific, both are used. In fact, you can say based on the convenience. In some purpose, quantitative may be better. In some cases, qualitative may be better. In some cases, you may do the research with qualitative, but you test it with quantitative data and prove your arguments are correct. Sometimes you do the research with quantitative and with the qualitative understanding, you will prove that the research is correct. So both are complementary or contradictory? Both are mutually beneficial or not? That's the answer. That's how you need to, that's the balanced, matured sociological answer. There is nothing which is superior or inferior in sociology. If you ask about positivism or non-positivism, which is better? Both. There is no question of which is superior or inferior. Same with quantitative, qualitative, same with inductive, deductive. Right? Right. Before writing conclusion, do one thing, you make a table, quantitative and qualitative. Yeah, write quantitative and qualitative. We'll just make a small comparison. Write quantitative here, qualitative here. I will tell what you need to write in quantitative. You need to tell me what you should be writing in qualitative. That's the opposite, okay? So in quantitative you write using numbers and statistics. Use numbers and statistics. Right, under quantitative you write use numbers, facts, statistics. Tell me what you will write here. Using text. Use text. In quantitative you write many observation. Many observation. Quantitative means you can get it from many, large sample. This one, few observation. Many observation, few observation. What will be the next? Larger sample size, smaller sample size? No. With respect to this itself, we already mentioned. Sample size is large, but something is less. Sample size is small, but some information. So less information in quantitative. Less information. In qualitative, more information. In quantitative you write makes inferences from specific to general. Makes inferences from specific to general. What does that mean? See, making inference means we are generalizing. We are making theory. But how we are doing it? Specific, individual, we collect data and we generalize. So that's what you mean by specific to general. Qualitative you write. So if this is theory, make inference from specific to general, if it is theory means what you will write there? Are they concerned about theories? No. So just write that. Not so concerned with inferences. Not so concerned with inferences. So whether from specific to general or general to specific, they're not concerned. It's about understanding what matters. Now in quantitative you write replicable analysis. Qualitative, you can't say completely non-replicable, not necessarily replicable. You need to be very careful with the language. Non-replicable means you are completely, see, I am going and asking to someone, other person is going to ask to that person and give the same conclusion means it is replicable. But may not, that's what we can say. But in quantitative, since it is numbers, it is replicable. It's facts. But here, we'll say just not necessarily replicable. That's fine. So be very careful with each and every words that you use. Ultimately, that is what I want to teach you. Otherwise, everything is available. You can read and you can understand. But you basically, if you need a mentor, means you just need a mentor for, all these parts where you need to correct it. Next. Formalized methods in quantitative. Formalized methods. Less formalized methods. See, we are not saying not formalized methods, less formalized methods. Okay, now let's conclude. Right, next paragraph. Although both quantitative and qualitative methods are distinct and based on opposite theoretical assumption, but while comparing both, the relationship between the two is understood to be complementary rather than contradictory. Underline that. Complementary rather than contradictory. Means what? We can use both depending upon the situation. Right, continue. Nowadays, both are used depending upon both are used for the purpose of sociological research depending upon requirements. For example, quantitative methods are frequently used to test the understanding generated by qualitative methods. Similarly, qualitative methods can be used to understand the meanings of data generated by quantitative methods. Full stop. Next sentence. Quite often researchers use both methods in such a way that they are virtually impossible to separate. Okay. So our conclusion matte part ella easy ana. Conclusion, just read it. So what you're saying in conclusion? See, this debate between positivist, non-positivist, you follow this approach, that approach was like till 1940s, 50s and 60s, and after that debate is over. Whether you belong to positivist or non-positivist, doesn't matter. You don't follow any theoretical purity also in your approach. What is more convenient, what is more suitable for your research, you use that. Which one is going to give you a better understanding? Go with that. If quantitative is supporting your research, go with that. Qualitative is supporting your research, go with that. There is no such distinction or anything with positivism, non-positivism, inductive, deductive, quantitative, qualitative after this 1950s. Everything is combination. Everything is seen as complementary rather than contradictory. That's what you have written. Both are mutually beneficial. These are the words that you need to use. Fine. Any questions? We're done today. This is an easy topic. Today's topic is a very easy one, because that positivism and non-positivism is the one which is tough. In sociology, that is the area which you find it tough, because we just started sociology and we are coming some theoretical area. Once you're done with that, then tomorrow onwards, this, sampling, reliability, validity, and all those, that's easy. Stratification is easy. Then comes thinkers, and you will love thinkers. There won't be any issue. So that tough part is over. Third chapter, this is the first topic. I don't think that I need to waste time on taking third chapter. You will be completing that by watching the videos. Okay, my sessions are there. So there are small topics like sampling, methods. Those we won't take in the offline session. Just complete it by watching videos, and we start stratification from next day. Third chapter, a few topics are there, like sampling is there, research methods are there, reliability, validity is there. Right, that you need to complete. You have the access to the videos. You got it? So complete that. For any topic, there will be 2 videos which are there, but watch any one of that and complete it. One day is enough. Today after evening, if you watch, then we can have a session tomorrow. Otherwise, we can have it on Monday. Saturday, Sunday, you can complete those 2-3 topics. Sampling you need to complete. Sampling means it's a very simple topic. Then there is something called as research methods. There are like, what is survey method, what is interview, what is questionnaire. There is no point in me standing here offline and discussing that. Normally I won't take course. So that is taken by another faculty actually, research methods and reliability, validity. Just do that, and then Monday, stratification. Okay, we can have it start from Monday again. Stratification, it's very interesting, very simple topic. Now onwards, sociology will be very easy. Yesterday's was the major part. Positive. That's why I spent time also. I explained like this again today also. And some of you have told the other faculty also. Right? So, ini thodangya oru issue undavilla. Karan thinkers anyway, it's very simple. Stratification is also an interesting topic. So do one thing, you have 3 days, we have 3 topics, you complete that. It's just a matter of, a couple of hours, you'll be able to finish. Maybe tomorrow itself you can finish, or even today evening also, but still do that. And then we start with Monday stratification. Fine? See you.